The aroma of roasted turkey blends with the sound of laughter and shouts echoing through the room. Wrapping paper is scattered across the floor, while two people argue about politics near the Christmas tree. In the kitchen, someone grumbles because dinner is running late, and in the corner of the living room, an impatient uncle starts complaining about the phone he received. The scene is familiar to many, the typical chaos of the holidays, where high expectations and social pressures turn what should be a moment of celebration into an emotional minefield. Amid all this confusion, there you are, holding a glass of juice, observing every detail. A cousin tries to draw you into the argument, throwing out a provocative question to stir things up. Someone trips over the pile of presents and curses loudly. Everything around you seems to demand a reaction. But instead of being swept away, you take a deep breath, feel the air slowly entering your lungs, and find a moment of clarity. A thought surfaces in your mind. Is this under my control? Suddenly, the complaints, the delays, and the minor tensions lose their grip. It's not that the chaos has disappeared, but your perception of it has shifted. You look around and realize you don't need to dive into the whirlwind. You choose to respond calmly, not to react impulsively. And that choice transforms your experience. The truth is, peace doesn't come from the environment. It comes from how you respond to it. The holiday season can be challenging, but it also offers a unique opportunity to practice something profound: the art of maintaining balance, even when everything seems out of control. Did you know it's possible to turn chaos into calm just by changing the way you interpret and react to situations around you? Imagine if, this year, you could enjoy the holidays without carrying the burden of expectations or the emotions of others. Stoicism teaches us exactly that, to understand that what happens out there doesn't have to govern what we feel inside. And the best part, it's a skill anyone can learn. Now think back to the opening scene. You could be the person who succumbs to the chaos, reacting impulsively to every provocation, or the one who chooses serenity amid the storm. The difference lies in one decision: to focus on what you can control and let the rest take its course. Want to know how that's possible? It's simpler than it seems, and the answers are closer than you might think. For many, Christmas carries a duality. On one hand, it's a time full of promises, joy, unity, and unforgettable moments with family. On the other, it can be an almost unbearable source of stress. Unspoken expectations linger in the air, and the pressure for everything to be perfect turns what should be a peaceful season into an emotional marathon. Have you ever left a Christmas dinner exhausted, thinking, "Never again"? If so, you're not alone. Part of this stress stems from a simple fact: the social expectations surrounding the holidays. The dinner must be flawless, the gifts must impress, and everyone at the table must smile, as if they were in a TV commercial. But reality is very different. The food might be late, the presents might disappoint, and the smiles often mask tensions that surface at the most inconvenient moments. Family arguments, for example, are almost a holiday cliché. There's always that one relative who insists on bringing up sensitive topics like politics, money, or life choices. Often, you go into the Christmas spirit hoping for a moment of unity, but leave feeling drained by conflicts you never even wanted to join. How do you react when it seems like every family gathering turns into a veiled dispute or an emotional battleground? Then there's the pressure for perfection. Social media doesn't help. You see photos of seemingly perfect families at lavish dinners with Christmas trees that look like they're straight out of a catalog. This creates an unattainable standard that generates anxiety. Are the gifts you bought good enough? Will your home's decorations impress? Did you do enough to make Christmas special for everyone? This pursuit of perfection often robs the joy of the present moment. You might spend hours preparing a dinner or searching for the perfect gift, only to realize no one seems to notice or appreciate your effort. Worse, you might feel frustrated for not receiving the recognition you expected, feeding silent resentments. All of this happens because In some way, we are led to believe that we must meet these expectations, that perfection is mandatory, that harmony is guaranteed, and that if something goes wrong, it's our fault. This mindset creates a cycle of stress and frustration where every little detail seems more important than it really is. But does Christmas really need to be this way? Is it truly necessary to carry the weight of all these pressures? Perhaps the real problem isn't the holidays themselves, but the way we approach them. When we prioritize external expectations over our internal well-being, we end up disconnecting from what truly matters. And this disconnection can turn a potentially joyful moment into a constant source of tension. Now think about this. What if the focus shifted? What if, instead of trying to please everyone or control every detail, you chose to concentrate on what's truly within your control? Imagine stepping into the holidays with a different mindset, where the goal isn't perfection but peace. How would that change your experience? It's not easy to abandon habits and patterns we've carried for years, but it's possible. And it starts with a simple decision to redefine your expectations and realize that you don't need to be ruled by them. After all, Stoicism teaches us that much of our suffering doesn't come from what happens, but from how we interpret what happens. Maybe this year is the time to challenge those patterns. Does the perfect gift matter more than the act of being present? Does the political debate have any real impact on your life or theirs? Is the perfect dinner worth more than the simple joy of sharing a meal? No matter how modest, you can't control delays, others' opinions, or the inevitable imperfections of any celebration. But you can control how you react to all of it. And when you make that choice, something incredible happens. The stress fades, and what once seemed like an exhausting task becomes an opportunity for genuine connection with yourself and with others. If Christmas has been a source of frustration for you, maybe it's time to rewrite it. Not as a perfect event, but as a moment of presence. And that starts with how you decide to see it. So ask yourself, what truly matters to you this Christmas? And more importantly, how can you allow yourself to fully embrace it? Picture this, it's Christmas Eve, and you've spent the entire day preparing the feast. The decorations are immaculate, the tree lights shine brightly, and you're confident the dishes will impress everyone. But then a warning beep from the oven makes your heart race. The smell of something burning begins to fill the kitchen. The dessert you had so carefully planned is ruined, and the first guests have already arrived. It feels like everything is falling apart. This is when Stoicism can become your greatest tool. Its first lesson is simple yet transformative. Focus on what is within your control. Can you change how long the cake was in the oven? Not anymore. But you can decide how to react to it. Instead of being consumed by frustration, you can choose to reassess the situation. Maybe this small mishap is just an opportunity to show that Christmas is about much more than perfect food. With a smile, you grab some fruit from the fridge and improvise a new dessert, surprising your guests with your lightheartedness in the face of the problem. This is the power of reframing. When something doesn't go as planned, Stoicism invites us to reinterpret the event, not as a failure, but as a chance to learn or adapt. And this doesn't apply only to small culinary disasters. Think about the last time you received criticism from a family member during the holidays. Perhaps someone made a comment about your career, life choices, or even the gift you gave. How did you react? The most common response would be to feel offended, defend yourself, or even reply with an equally sharp comment. But what if you could view that criticism from another perspective? The philosopher Epictetus reminds us, it's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Criticism can be seen as an opportunity for growth, or as something that says more about the other person than about you. When you change the meaning you assign to these words, they lose their power to hurt you. Another crucial Stoic principle during the holidays is acceptance of what's beyond your control. How many times have you found yourself trying to control everything and everyone during Christmas? From guests' arrival times to how they should behave, the expectations we create for ourselves and others are often the root of our frustration. But Stoicism teaches us that perfection isn't just unattainable, it's unnecessary. By accepting that some things will simply be out of your control, you free up emotional energy to focus on what truly matters. Take the story of Marcus, a fictional example that's close to reality. Last Christmas, he meticulously prepared everything. Yet, within minutes, his home seemed to turn into a battlefield. The children knocked over a tree ornament, his brother-in-law brought a cheap wine that upset his wife, and an older relative sparked a heated political debate. Marcus, who always saw himself as the family peacemaker, felt the pressure building. But instead of reacting impulsively, he decided to apply something he had read about Stoicism. First, he took a deep breath and asked himself, "What's truly under my control right now?" He realized he couldn't stop the children from being noisy, change his brother-in-law's taste in wine, or alter his uncle's political opinions. However, he could choose how to respond to all of it. Calmly, he redirected the table conversation to funny childhood stories, steering focus away from the conflict. He complimented the wine, emphasizing that effort mattered more than the label. As for the kids, he turned their mishap into a chance to involve them, asking for their help in fixing the ornament still on the tree. The result? A lighter atmosphere, and a night that could have been a disaster turned into a genuine celebration. Stoicism, then, isn't just a philosophical theory, it's a practice. It gives us practical tools to deal with life's surprises and imperfections, especially during the holidays. Because, in the end, Christmas isn't about flawless trees or magazine-worthy dinners. It's about connection, presence, and the ability to appreciate the moment, even when it's far from perfect. By choosing to focus on what you can control, you'll find that the minor irritations and lofty expectations that once drained your energy become insignificant. When you reframe emotions and accept what can be changed, what was once stress turns into a learning experience, and what was chaos becomes calm. Not because everything around you has changed, but because your perspective has. This Christmas, why not practice this? Not as a complicated exercise, but as a gift to yourself. Whenever something doesn't go as expected, and trust me, it will, ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If it's yes, act with calm and purpose. And in doing so, perhaps for the first time, you might experience the true spirit of the holidays, peace that comes from within. Men are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. This quote from Epictetus encapsulates a fundamental truth. It's not external events that cause us distress, but how we choose to perceive them. During Christmas, a time loaded with expectations and emotions, this perspective can be transformative. Maria, a woman who, like many of us, always dreamed of having a perfect Christmas, experienced this truth profoundly. Last year, she found herself on the brink of exhaustion. After weeks of planning every detail, from the menu to the decorations, the big day arrived, and things began spiraling out of control. The Christmas tree, lovingly decorated, was knocked over by the dog. The dessert, which looked perfect in the recipe, turned out overly sweet and unappetizing. To make matters worse, a heated argument between two family members dampened the atmosphere. Maria felt the impulse to react. Anger bubbled up. She wanted to blame someone for the chaos, defend her efforts, or simply give up on salvaging the day. But then she recalled something she had recently read about Stoicism. In a moment of pause, the words of Seneca echoed in her mind. Most of what we worry about is beyond our control, so why worry? Inspired by this wisdom, she decided to take a different approach. Instead of focusing on what had gone wrong, she concentrated on what she could do to change the situation. She put the tree back up with the help of the children and the dog, turning it into a moment of laughter and bonding. She served fresh fruit instead of the dessert, joking, "This is my minimalist touch." As for the argument, she listened patiently and then suggested a light-hearted game to shift the mood. What could have been remembered as the disastrous Christmas turned into one of the most memorable for Maria and her family. Not because everything went perfectly, but because she chose to value the present moment and the people around her, even amid imperfections. This shift in perspective isn't magic. It's a practice. Stoicism teaches us that what matters isn't the events themselves, but how we choose to interpret them. Maria applied one of the most fundamental principles of this philosophy, focusing on the present. Instead of being consumed by what had already happened or worrying about what might go wrong, she dedicated her energy to what was within her reach at that moment. Many who embrace this approach report a sense of relief and gratitude. When we stop worrying about what's outside our control, we create space to appreciate the simple things. It's as if a cloud of tension dissipates, revealing the clarity and lightness that were always there, just waiting to be noticed. Have you ever wondered how many precious moments you've missed because you're focused on problems? How often could a simple change in perspective have turned a difficult situation into something valuable? Maria's story reminds us that the power to rewrite the narrative is in our hands. And this power isn't exclusive to her. It's available to all of us, especially during challenging moments like Christmas. When you encounter criticism, unexpected mishaps, or tensions this holiday season, remember the words of Epictetus and Seneca. Choose what is within your control, your vision, and your reaction. Choose to focus on what truly matters. Perhaps the perfect Christmas isn't the most luxurious, well-organized, or filled with impeccable traditions. Maybe the true perfect Christmas is the one where you find peace within yourself and share it with others. After all, it's this peace that truly transforms the holidays, regardless of how they begin. Picture yourself in the middle of a tense moment during the celebrations. Perhaps it's an unexpected delay in dinner or a critical comment someone made without thinking. The immediate feeling is frustration, maybe even anger. But what if, instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, you could pause, take a deep breath, and ask the simple question, "Is this under my control?" That pause can change everything. If the answer is no, you know exactly what to do. Let it go. Why waste energy trying to change something that doesn't depend on you? On the other hand, if it's within your control, focus on the solution, not the problem. Take another deep breath and choose to act with purpose rather than react impulsively. This is the invitation. Take on a Stoic challenge during the holidays. In the next family conflict, delay, or moment of stress, practice this technique. It doesn't have to be anything big or dramatic. Maybe someone criticizes the dish you prepared, or the table conversation takes a turn you'd rather avoid. Use that moment as a golden opportunity to apply Stoicism. The beauty of this challenge is that it transforms everyday situations into exercises in self-control and resilience. Each time you practice, you're strengthening your ability to stay calm amid chaos. And do you know what happens when you choose calm? It has the power to transform the environment around you. Your serenity can inspire others to follow suit, creating a ripple effect of balance and connection. Now, imagine the impact this can have on your life and the lives of those around you. Conflicts that used to escalate may dissipate. Small irritations that once ruined your day become insignificant. You become the person who maintains composure, no matter what happens. After taking on the challenge, come back and share your experience in the comments. What happened when you chose calm over reaction? How did it influence the atmosphere? Your story can inspire others to try it too, creating a community of more conscious and emotionally resilient people. Remember, Stoicism isn't about achieving unattainable perfection, but about making small, conscious choices moment by moment. And when you do this, you discover that true peace doesn't come from what happens around you, but from how you decide to live through it. So, next time something goes out of control, take on the challenge. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself what really matters, and let the rest take its course. Christmas, like life, is made up of unexpected moments. The difference between a celebration full of stress and one filled with peace lies in how you choose to experience it. Now you have the tools to face challenges with serenity, leaving behind the weight of expectations and embracing the present as it is. This Christmas can be different, and the transformation doesn't have to stop here. Stoicism isn't just about facing challenges during the holidays. It's a path to a more balanced and meaningful life all year round. If you're ready to go beyond and apply these principles in your daily life, the ebook Modern Stoicism in Practice is the next step you need. With it, you'll learn to live with more purpose, calm, and clarity, even in the toughest moments. The link is in the comments, waiting for you. Take the next step to transform your life. Remember, control is in your hands. No matter the chaos around you, you can always choose how to react. And that choice is what truly transforms the environment, and most importantly, transforms you. This Christmas can be different, not because everything will go perfectly, but because you'll decide to see the value in every moment, no matter how imperfect it may seem. By applying Stoic principles, you not only reframe difficult situations, but also inspire others to do the same. Calm is contagious, and by choosing it, you become the anchor that maintains balance amid the storms. So take on the challenge, practice what you've learned, and savor each moment with lightness and intention. I wish you a holiday season filled with meaning, tranquility, and free from the unnecessary weight of perfectionism. Because, in the end, what truly matters isn't the perfect decor or the most expensive gifts, but the peace you bring within yourself. It's all up to you.